Chin to chin.
They're on flavor.
Chin to chin. It's all over. Just like wow. Showtime, guy.
It is Shin to Chin, the MMA report with Lockport Joe. Joe, how are you, my man?
Good. How are you guys?
We're awesome. We're an hour into the show now, and we've been rocking and rolling and having a good time. And we've been kind of putting off our MMA talk. We've been eagerly waiting to talk to you. Lots has happened in the MMA world since we last spoke to you. The biggest thing being, of course, the return of George St. Pierre, arguably one of the top 3 fighters in the entire world. You obviously, I know you saw the pay-per-view. Give us your review of the return of George St. Pierre.
I mean, he looked fine. I mean, he looked good. I mean, he was going against obviously a top opponent, a top contender in his division. I mean, he looked. I don't think he looked as good as he can. I don't think that's the best he's ever looked. I mean, coming off knee surgery, but that's still pretty good. If that guy can come out and dominate a guy like Carlos Condit like he did, other than the one round, I think I had it 4-1 as far as a scorecard goes for GSP, and still look that good and still uses wrestling like that. Then he was still very impressive.
The one thing it wasn't boring. It wasn't boring as shit.
No, it wasn't. It was very entertaining. I mean, that was probably due to Carlos Condit being as good as he was. So we'll see. I mean, what's next for him? I mean, is it Anderson Silva? He sounds super hesitant to do it. I mean,
if I was him, I would get 1 or 2 more fights in. I'd get a little bit of energy going, and the pay-per-view would be bigger.
I don't see Dana doing that, man.
It's not up to you sometimes, man.
He wants to go to Dallas real bad.
Risk it. I mean, the next guy for him would probably be Johnny Hendricks, and I mean that's not a sure thing. If I had to pick today, I'd still probably pick GSP, but Hendricks has got a dynamite right hand.
He would be outclassed by GSP.
Oh, for sure. I think so. I mean, the things that he does, GSP has had success. I mean, he's a good wrestler. I mean, he's got the Koscheck kind of thing where he's a very athletic wrestler and has improved stand-up. But
hey, let's fantasize for a second. What would have happened if the knockout kick would have been to the head and St. Pierre would have knocked out? Where are we at today?
Where are we at today? Probably, I mean, talking about it. I mean, they're probably. I would imagine either he'd have an immediate rematch, or do you do Condit and Hendricks, and then have GSP get a fight back before he. In today's UFC, I think he would probably they would turn around and try and give him the immediate rematch. I don't think he'd fight Anderson coming off of a loss.
No way.
That blows up that whole idea.
That's why I was totally going for Carlos Condit. Yeah. And he isn't a bad guy. I think he's got a good story. I think he tries really hard, but
I think he's wrong. I think Carlos Condit is he's in the wrong division at the wrong time.
Yeah. What could he go down to?
I don't think he can make. I don't know if he can make 170 155, and I think he's too small to fight at 185.
Yeah.
So, like I said, he's just a victim of a lot of guys. A lot of guys in 185 would be champions any other time if there wasn't Anderson Silva standing in their way. But
it's almost time for him to leave to open that division up to somebody else.
Sure. I think, and I told Ben, I go at this point, just give up the belt. I mean, him being the 185 champion doesn't. I mean, his fights are outside of that division at this point. Are the ones that are the money makers are fighting GSP at a catch weight, and I think Ben, I told you if I was Anderson Silva, I'd fight GSP. If I beat him, fight John Jones, and then peace. I'm out of here. Yep. I would leave, retire. Nobody can question his legacy. He beat the 2 top guys in the below and above weight class during his time,
and then he literally retires as the greatest fighter of all time.
Absolutely,
ever.
Then you can't ever dispute it. I mean,
right? Like you can't dispute it.
Right?
But don't you think he's a little scared to do that? You think he wants to fight John Jones?
Oh, I mean, there's no guarantee he'd beat GSP, and there's certainly no guarantee he'd beat John Jones. Do I think he would? I mean, he's got a very good chance to. He's he's obviously that damn good.
Right.
But they're risky fights, sure.
That would be the thought, Joe. You'll get this reference, Vito. You probably won't, but that would be his total John Elway moment to go out.
Sure. Going out
win.
with 2 Super Bowl. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You ride off into the sunset, never to be seen. I mean, maybe not never to be seen again, but you're not paying for another dinner in Brazil, and you're not. You're a UFC regular. you're doing the Chuck Liddell thing. You're essentially executive in charge of being Anderson Silva.
Right, you're not Hoist Gracie coming back to get pummeled by Matt Hughes.
Never happened. Never happened. The only way it would happen is it was like some stupid football player talking stupid like that one guy did, and Couture just knocked the shit out of him. It'd be something like that.
In other MMA news that has come out, we do have officially the return date or the return fight for Alistair Overeem. He'll be taking on Bigfoot Silva, which should be an interesting heavyweight fight. How do you see that one? That one's shaping up, Joe.
I still like Alistair. I think Alistair's still the top heavyweight. I mean, it's either him or Junior. I mean, him and if that's the fight at heavyweight, everybody wants to see. I just think his stand up is too good for Bigfoot. I think he'll be too fast for him.
It's Alistair. What's the dream fight for Alistair?
No, it's actually signed. Alistair Overeem against Bigfoot Silva.
But I said, I mean, the fight I would want to see. I mean, you want to have him fight Junior Dos Santos as far as the title fight. Eventually.
When's that happen? He hasn't fought in forever.
Well,
no?
Dos Santos is fighting Cain Velasquez next.
But where's he been?
They've both been hurt. Both him and Velasquez have been hurt, and so now they're both healthy and they're ready to fight.
Now, why no interim title there when they've jumped in every other time and fucked around?
Because Dos Santos hasn't been off that long.
I don't think it's been quite that long. But yeah,
what was his last fight?
Last two have been so fast that it doesn't seem like he's fought in such a long time. So.
Yeah, the last fight was against Cain, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was the Fox show was his last
like
fight
100 years ago.
Yeah. That was a while. I mean, I guess it was a while ago, but it doesn't. For whatever reason, he's flying under the radar. They don't have any other heavyweights, man. Right now, they lost Shane Carwin. They lost Shane Carwin, and they filled the spot with the biggest heavyweight in the division, Matt Mitrione. Who wants to see Roy Nelson and Matt Mitrione fight? I don't give a fuck.
Nickname, Ben. It should be Matt Mitrione.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Well, from now on, it is on this.
Right, stamped. It is official. Unbelievable. I mean, that's such a disappointing result. Congo turns down the fight, and I guess you're left with Matt Mitrione, but that shows the lack of depth in the heavyweight division, really.
And the last time Dos Santos fought was in May, and he beat Frank Mir. That was officially.
Okay, Frank Mir.
But still, it's been half a year. I mean, so average, but it was he dominated that fight, and the Cain fight was the one before that. So
right, this fight between Cain and Dos Santos, if they're both healthy, considering that I guess we found out both guys weren't anywhere near healthy the last time they fought, and they both basically just bit the bullet because they knew it was such a huge show that they couldn't pull out of that fight. I think it's come out now that both those guys were pretty banged up in that fight. It should be a whole different fight this time.
That's
around.
road stories.
I mean, we didn't get to see Cain take him down. I mean, it went so fast the first time that you're right. We really didn't get to see these two guys, fight it out. It was a quick kind of flash knockout. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily not a believer in Junior Dos Santos. I don't think he's going to be the guy that's going to be champion for 2 years, and hold that belt for forever and ever and ever.
I don't know.
But he's still super talented, obviously. So
the heavyweight division, those guys are so powerful. I don't see how any heavyweight could go on a run.
Yeah.
They're one punch and that's all it takes. Dos
Santos there's nobody out there. I mean, there's nobody that I see doing like what you said that can maintain like that and just dominate over. Yeah, because it's and because the heavyweight division is the most wide open weight wise. I mean, you have guys that are kind of almost would be better at 205 or small, the smaller heavyweights, and then there's Bigfoot Silva giant guys in there, or not everybody's like Brock, but Brock guys coming out.
It's basically like the only open weight division or closest open weight division.
I mean, they've talked about. I mean, it's been talked about, but I don't think it'll ever happen doing a super heavyweight division because then you're going to even thin that division out even more. So
right, yeah. All right, now I want your honest opinion here. Does Strikeforce ever have another show?
Yeah, boy, it's not looking like that January one.
That January event needed Ronda Rousey on it. Just saying.
But she's not going to be now, so it's they were going to do the big last blow up in January and have all the champions on there, but Rock holds out. And, I mean,
Melendez is out. I mean, what Cormier is going to fight some rubber. I mean, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Just bring the guys over you want to the UFC and just be done with it. Because this is like the WEC again. It's like well, we're gonna try and keep it running. No, you're not. You just wait. Just bring them over.
Right, just pull the plug.
Do you think they do it just to get people to hate it? And then they get rid of it, so you're not like, oh, I wish they would have kept Strikeforce.
I think they would have gotten rid of it when they purchased it had it not been for the Showtime contract.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and they're not going to bring everybody over, but I mean, the ones we want to see over. I mean, Rockhold would be cool to see in the UFC.
Dude, it would have been a really awesome show if that would have been the next Ultimate Fighter, like everybody from Strikeforce, and you're just like,
earn a spot, baby.
Get over. I wouldn't mind doing that. They've talked about doing another one of those comeback shows, which I thought was great the first time around because you get to see that's appointment viewing because you're going to see middle of the road fighters and fights you would see on pay-per-views maybe happening on free TV.
And you're definitely going to get the guys that are too old to do it getting knocked out by some young guy.
You mean Shoney Carter?
Right.
Yes.
Dude, how it seems like Strikeforce really fucked over Luke Rockhold here. And made him look like he pulled out of a fight when he was never even presented with a contract. He says, "I mean,
that's what he says." Yeah, who knows? I mean, yeah, it's just obviously not being run completely correctly, and who knows? I'm 60-40 at this point that they won't. I mean, it looks like if guys keep pulling out, I mean, they canceled the last two, so what what
does it matter? Yeah, so. One other thing I wanted to bring up because I wanted to get Vito's opinion on this because I know you are such a big fan of the way Bellator does their titles and stuff.
Tournament.
Yeah, the whole tournament style. Yeah. They came out this week and said they're tweaking one thing when they go over to Spike, and that is that if a champion loses, a guy goes to the tournament, beats the champion has a rematch. Okay. He doesn't have to go back into a tournament and go back through a tournament.
I'm cool with that.
You're cool with that. I thought you would be kind of shitting on that. Like, no, it's not true to what it is.
I think when you really win, if you go through the whole thing and you really win the title, you're really the champion. Like, it's not a fluke. Like in UFC, I think you're taught to learn that like when the guy loses, don't give a shit about him anymore.
Sure.
Right.
And at least here it says, no, this guy is still a viable guy. He's still a real champion. Then he comes back and he gets a,
Interesting.
It sells a pay-per-view twice.
Right. They see it, they had to go this way. That's the thing. They couldn't have survived not doing it this way, right, Joe?
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I think it's fine. I mean, they can.
Yeah, but why couldn't they survive? I mean, it's just one.
Because you don't get that. Some of the best business comes from rematches.
Oh sure, but wouldn't it be even better if the guy got back in the tournament and won all the way through?
I think yes, because that's a really cool story. The
more it doesn't happen, it gets better and better when it actually does happen.
Yes, I think that's why I was like, I thought you might be a little disappointed that they did it because Bellator, they did such a great job of separating themselves.
Besides, I have one complaint. This is just being a mark, but I have a complaint. He looks like Dana White with his all black suit on, putting the belt around the guy when he wins. You can't do something different, like hold it up over his head or throw it to him, or
put it on his shoulder.
Yeah, put it, or maybe just nothing. Maybe the referee puts it around his waist.
You just hand it to him.
Yeah. Maybe you do something just different because it looks like you're doing what they do.
Have a chick give it to him.
Yeah, they still look like the UFC with a different ring. Like the ring makes you look, or that circle, whatever you want to call it, makes it look different. But he looks just like Dana White. If you don't know Dana White, like if you're just an average MMA fan, you would think it's Dana White's brother. Again. Yeah, the bald guy with the black suit. What's he doing there? Did he lose weight?
Why is he at Bellator? Does he own Bellator now?
Yeah, that guy owns everything. It's terrible.
I do have local Bellator news. My instructor, the guy who I've been taking jiu-jitsu from for the last 6 years, is signed to Bellator. Christian Chalpino Uflacher got signed by Bellator. He'll be on the undercard of the December 14th show at the Horseshoe Casino in Indiana. So he got a 3-fight deal. So hopefully he wins and gets himself into the tournament. He'll be fighting at 155.
We're gonna go ahead and give him a show salute with the ringy ding and let it ride out.
There you go. You'll probably see it online. I mean, I don't think it'll be on the main MTV2, whatever. I think that might be the last MTV2.
Joe, you screwed up his celebration. You're supposed to let the ring out, almost like a standing 10 count.
Well, the moment has passed. The last thing before we let you go, Joe, we are going to be doing a pre-UFC on Fox show with you live here in studio coming up on December 8th. We're looking forward to that. That card looks awesome. I mean, is it not one of the best cards they've put on all year?
Oh, for a free Fox show? Holy cow, is it really good. I mean, and Ben Henderson might be in a whole heap of trouble because I think Nate Diaz is his brother is as good as his brother, if not better, at this time. I mean, he's Nick like 2 years ago, but he's in the UFC, and Ben has not met a guy at that weight who's as big as him and can punch like Nate Diaz. Not to mention Gustafsson and Hua, and then what's the other one?
BJ
Penn.